it has its own language. It's similar to Python, but it's like really easy to read, really easy to learn. They have like pretty good documentation online.
And Vince he dealt with the Azure side.
Yeah, he did the web client part of our game, and that was with Ruby, I think. I don't know anything about Ruby. It was hosted by. Yes, made possible with Microsoft Azure.
We won. Our prize was the mixed reality VR headsets. Each of us got one for it, so we're excited. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so our next presenter, and I believe, yes, this is the last Global Game Jam game showing this evening. So this, in a little bit of a different twist. So this was also made same theme transmission at the Global Game Jam 2 weeks ago in 48 hours. But this group, am I saying it right?
Muy Fuego.
Muy Fuego.
Muy Fuego.
You guys are a team, right?
Yeah.
So they've been working together for how long?
For 2 years.
2 years. They've been showing their work at Playcrafting Expos. They have a lot of wonderful games. So just a little bit of a contrast. This is a team that had experience working together in the past. And what was this? Your game was built on?
Unity.
Yeah, Unity! Actually, yeah, Unreal, because that's the next one coming. All right, take it away.
So I'm Rafi from Muy Fuego. So this year we decided to take part in the Global Game Jam, which most people should know is transmission was the theme. The team was me on programming and game design, and Andrew Benson on the 2D art and animation. So for day one, we just decided on brainstorming and just concept. So this was our little notebook for the project. We basically wrote down anything that transmission brought to mind. So like Houston, we have a problem, or Mayday, things like that. So we basically ended up on you play as a signal, platforming on wires in 2D. And this was our original sketch of the idea. So the look was supposed to be like, kind of like Old Man's Journey for the buildings and kind of hackers at night. So the theme was two dueling hackers race a signal to a radio tower in order to hack the planet. And this was the asset list for the project, our pipeline pretty much. So day two, we started early working on the game. This was the first initial art style for the game, but it was too time consuming for the 1 day plan that we had. So we went with a more quirky vector look that was quicker to produce. This was my prototype background and our prototype spark. So the idea for the player controller was it will raycast down from its position and rotate according to whatever platform is underneath. That way it would ride the wires no matter what shape they were. And this is the original prototype. You can see that it rides on the. Yeah. So as I worked on the game, Andrew focused on the assets and animations. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the stuff implemented. As you can see, the background, our original idea was to have the players kind of score be determined by the windows in the buildings. And we would have like these PNGs that would be lit up in the color of the player. But once we had the whole city lit up, it immediately lost all the readability. And off, it looks like a ghost town. So we went with a combination of the two where the windows didn't interfere with the gameplay. Yeah. This is at the end of day 2. So we had everything done. Scoring, every single feature of the game was part of it. Yeah. So then day 3, we just I focused on the music, and Andrew did the hackers, the vans, and satellites, and that was hackers. So I could put the game. Can I get a volunteer? You just move and jump.
Oh, awesome.
And you can't jump through the wire. You have to come. Okay. Oh, wait. Sorry. Yeah. I'll be good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Any questions? How doing? Yeah.
I suggest that you put the instructions like right before the game starts.
Oh, yeah. That.
Just because he was a little confused about it, so I thought you
Yeah. What happened there was we ran out of time.
It's cool. We'll switch out.
Okay.
Thank you. But yeah, please feel free to take any questions.
Yeah. Anybody else? I use Logic Pro.
How long did it take you after get it up and like running, like working?
Like 2 hours.
I noticed you have like an asset list. How did you come up with it?
Well, I usually picture the game almost like if it was a movie. So I go through every single step, like every single press of a button that I would go through, and every single change, and I write it down like that.
Great.
Anybody else?
It looks like it has some pretty good potential to kind of like become a party game. Are you planning on working on it some more?
Yeah, we want to make it online and have 3 ways to win. So make it kind of like a killer queen kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you want to grow, maybe you can make like an advanced mode where the screen moves upwards, make it a little bit harder.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. That is a good idea. And also like really weird wires. So like how the player controller works, it could take any shape, so it could like swirl around and stuff.
You also might want to try to make the game, might want to make it look like you tried everything.
Yeah, with more time. Yeah.
48 hours. All right, thank you. Give it up for Muy Fuego. Awesome. So next up we have Sill. This game just showed at our Expo last week, and I'll let Sarah talk more about it. But one of the things that really kind of blew me away about this game was the way that she incorporated an API into it. So I'll let you. I'm not a developer, so I'm not going to get into that because I don't know what that means. But take it away, Sarah.
Just import a library. It's pretty easy. Anyway, so yeah, this is my game, Sill. It's a mobile game. I actually made it with React Native, so it's another game not made with the usual Unity or Unreal. It's not out yet. It's coming out in summer 2018. I was inspired by two games I love, Neko Atsume and Stardew Valley. Does anyone else like either of those? Yeah. Sort of. Yeah, so I just wanted to make another game that, you could check on the train, check every once in a while, and grow your own plants. But I think something really cool about it is that it uses a weather API. So it'll use the actual weather outside, and the plants will grow based on that, some faster, some slower. And some plants, they take like 3 days to grow. Some plants take a month, so I can't really do a live demo. So here's a little playthrough. So users can log into their own accounts. In the future, I'd really like to add a social media aspect so you can share your plants and see like some of your friends' plants. So it's snowing on this person's sill, and we're gonna go to this succulent. And it doesn't really like this weather, so it's not growing too fast. And then we have a cactus, which is full grown. When they're full grown, you can sell them for points and money, and as you get more points, you level up and you can unlock new seeds. And on your profile, you can see all of the plants you've grown and also the plants that you've killed. You don't really get penalized for killing plants, but you do get like a little shamed. And like I said, you can unlock some cool items after you level up. So one of the items you can unlock right now is fertilizer. It'll help your plants actually grow faster. So I'm just gonna fertilize my succulent. Oh, also there's no music or anything, just because I really wanted to be emphatic about the fact that I'd like someone to help me with music. So it's silent. Someone could help me out with that. And then the passage of time. And then we have a full-grown lavender. Cool. So a little bit more about each plant. They all have a high-low temperature range that they prefer. They also have preferred weather conditions, so some plants like rain, some plants like snow, etc. They have a survival range, which is how long they can go without being watered. Some plants are a little needier than others. They have a growing time, and they have a level requirement. So if you have like a level 10 plant, it might be a little harder to take care of than a level 1 succulent. In the future, I'd like to make some plane tickets you can purchase to temporarily change your latitude and longitude so you can get different climates. And also, like I said before, add the ability to visit your friends' sills. Like I said, it's not out yet, but if you'd like some updates, please go to that URL, sign up for newsletter. That's it. Thank you, guys. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'd love to add some ways you can like decorate your own sill.
One thing which I've noticed actually trying to grow real plants is that you have enemies at schools.
Yeah.
HDMI, yeah.
Real bugs. Yeah. I'm scared.
Maybe there can be some sort of point system, so maybe you can like get like more space in your cells.
Yeah.
Or maybe like you could over time, maybe you can like trade in your plants. Like I saw like this Hall of Fame, maybe you can get like better dirt to make them grow faster for certain plants.
Yeah, nice. Oh, so many. Yeah, you. Sorry. Trying to make eye contact.
Is it hard to playtest something that spans days, weeks, or months?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I just like update it in the database. So
Change the timer cycle.
yeah. Like I'll make the like growing time like 5 minutes and see if they're growing okay. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge too. I've had to cheat a lot.
Did you ever consider doing like vegetables or other plants that you could harvest and then kind of replant or kind of build up again?
Yeah, there's a tomato. Sorry.
Heirloom tomato or cherry?
Just a regular old tomato.
I've seen a lot of games like that where you can walk away from it and come back.
Yeah.
Are the calculations done at the time that you refresh the game, or are they done on the server?
Well, I use React, so it uses JavaScript, so I could use the date object, and I just add to that. So it doesn't like run continuously in the background. I didn't want that to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead. Yeah. Hey.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a quick question on the API. So essentially, you track the weather of the current geolocation of the person that's playing.
Yeah.
How does it interact with like VPNs and things like that, or have you played with that?
I don't know. You could, just being honest, you could cheat and change your like location.
We're gonna White House press briefing this one. Next question.
Are you giving away cheats?
If you were to add music to the game,
Yeah.
just you add like a retro style type of music, I think it will go pretty well.
Yeah, some like chip tunes would be cool. Yeah, if anyone knows, please
Any
help.
chiptune musicians out there meet with Sarah afterwards? All right. Last question.
Have you considered putting these plants on the blockchain and like creating a marketplace for these plants?
I haven't considered starting my own economy, but maybe future updates, version 2.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Give Sarah a hand and Sill. Awesome. Cool. So our next game of the evening is called Hero Soul.
You don't need to say that part.
The last part?
Yeah.
Just Hero Soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like hearing that.
I like to say them as presented to me because I don't want to be presumptuous. So just Hero Soul. All right. So Ryan, I was blown away. Ryan actually was one of our Learn Unity students. How long ago?
Well, I know I've been working on this for 7 months. So
7 months?
the class ended 7 months ago. Yeah.
Cool. So this project was you were working. You kind of had it concepted when you went into the course, right?
Yeah, correct.
So he started the course with this project in mind, and just 7 months later, we reached out and said, can we do a spotlight? The instructor said you had a really cool project, and then he sent us the artwork and the screen grabs, and we were blown away. It's really
Well, you
quite
embarrassed
wonderful.
me.
So after I've embarrassed Ryan, I will now let him present. So give it up for Hero Soul.
So I guess I'll just start it up. So my game. So I guess some background to me making this. Let me turn that down a little bit. So coming into it, I had this idea because I was really inspired by playing, the classic RPGs. When I was growing up, I played games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy. Those games really shaped me as a person, and I really wanted to make something like that. So this is kind of the product of that. So my game specifically is a action RPG. So if you play games like Diablo, Torchlight, it's like a top-down. You kind of attack and whack and everything, hack and slash, as they say. And I mixed that with kind of roguelite elements because, random elements are really popular. So my game is actually procedurally generated levels where you hack and slash through
Let's get going,
squad.
shall we?
So that's the only character that works. And so this is our world map, and we're going to go right into a level, and I'll show you guys the gameplay. So I actually added controller support this week. Nice. Let's see if it works. So this is my character. As you can see, I can move around. You're not locked to 4 directions like the old stuff. You can attack. If you can now you have a secondary attack where you can charge up. And woo. So before we enter this dangerous dungeon, let's equip some stuff. So like classic RPG, we got the classic equipment system. So you can equip and unequip items. So I equipped a weapon. Let's get in there. So these levels are actually all procedurally generated, so I don't even know how they generate. I have an idea how they do. I mean, pretty much this is the game. You just walk around and kill stuff. You see that? I can deflect that back at it. Sorry, I gotta concentrate. Alright, so we clear the room. So once you clear the room, you can move on, and there's a mini map on the top right, and we can just keep going. And it's pretty much just like this. There's some frogs that shoot stuff at you. So another thing you can do in this game is that you have a deck of cards that you build while you play the game. You can see that in the bottom left. So I can select a card, and I want to burn this weird monster thing. So I just burned it. And one of the things I guess that I wanted to make with this game is that you actually build a deck as you play. So let's go to another room. So you can see this little targeter. For some spells, actually, you can use your mouse, or since I'm using a controller, my controller to target. So let's just zap this thing. I guess here's another one. I'll show you another one. This shoots out a ball that gets bigger and it follows my little mouse. So let's go slowly zap this thing over here. We cleared it. Yeah. So if you actually notice on the mini map where I am in the dungeon's at green square, and if you can see to my left, there's actually a question mark. So actually in some of these dungeons, there are these special rooms that have some special goodies in them. Let's see which one this is. So we found a treasure chest. And let's fight him. So yeah, obviously this was actually quite inspired. So yeah, this is actually, I heard it. So this was inspired by Dragon Quest, obviously. And as you fight him, he shrinks. So I guess I'll end this by killing this guy, hopefully. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, this must be the last phase. It's getting smaller. Ooh, he got me.
Get ready for this.
And I won. Yay! So in the future, I don't know where this will go. This is kind of a passion project that I work on. So I can't, if you were asked when I want this to be released, I can't give you a specific date. I do want to maybe have this close to being finished by the end of this year. But again, I just love working on this project, so. And even, now here's the plug for playcrafting. Even you can make this if you take the playcrafting Unity course. Yeah.
You make the visual assets yourself?
No, I purchased most of it. So what I did in the game is I mostly did the UI and programming. So, and the assets I bought off of itch.io. I commissioned multiple artists to help me draw some stuff. So yeah.
Ever thought of developing a little bit more the graphical aspect, maybe with working somebody here in New York?
Yeah, definitely.
Not me.
I'm not. Well, I will say that I'm not a rich person. I'm a student, so if you're happy being paid with like ramen noodles or something, we can do that. Yeah. Yeah, in the front.
I think it'd be pretty cool if you did something like combination attacks with the cards you have in your deck. Like maybe if you lined up 3 fire cards or something.
Yeah. That's actually in the works. Yeah. Yeah, obviously, like, again, this is really inspired by RPGs, and a big part of them was story. Thank you. Yeah, I really want to work on the story. I just wanted to get all the mechanics out, so it's a game right now. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I saw that you had a equipment slot towards the inventory. As you progress through the game and kill certain enemies, will give you like you'll be able to like craft certain armor for your character that will give you like certain buffs.
Yeah, actually, as you kill more and more rarer and rare enemies, they actually will drop. Just like a normal RPG, you'll drop rarer and rarer gear. I actually haven't considered crafting, but there's a lot of gear that I have in there already. But good suggestion. Thank you. Yeah.
I thought adding pets that can help you fight.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So I really want to add it, but I don't know if I'll have the time to do it. Is the problem, since I'm a one-person team, I guess, working on this. So stuff takes a little bit longer than usual, but yeah, this is definitely something I want. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Will you be adding like more secret stuff, like things that are kind of frustrating to get to, but you get it and you get like buff or achievement?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to do something more like that. As you can see, it's kind of monotonous right now, just killing stuff. So yeah, definitely I want to add some more little flavor, I guess, into the game. Yeah.
Will you add a storyline to it?
Yeah. I have one in here, but I haven't written it down yet. Yeah.
Can I ask 2 questions?
Yeah.
All right. The first thing is multiplayer. Those type of games like that, like Secret of Mana, multiplayer would be great.
Yeah. I don't know anything about multiplayer and how to do it. There's like a whole different type of like thing like net coding. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if I will get into it, but yeah. So the way they work right now is that the card's power is pretty much based on its rarity. If you look closely, there was a way to tell rarity based on the color, but no, right now there isn't. But that's definitely an interesting idea. Yes.
Maybe you can try take time to make your own sprites in the game.
Yeah, actually, there are actually some that I've made myself, and I wonder if you can tell which ones were made by me. I wonder if you can tell. Actually, the whole UI I actually made when I opened the inventory, the gray screen. I made all that. If you looked on the level, there's these weird pink flowers. I made that too. I feel very proud of that as a person not gifted at art. But I made a few, but I'm still learning. There's a lot to do with art. Oh, yeah.
Some of the cards have effects like shields or like invincibility or something like that.
Yeah, there are cards like that. There's another card like that too.
Cool. Give it up for
Thank you.
Now I know there's a lot of mention of story. If anybody's interested in learning about story, we actually have a game writing primer course launching on February 20th. That's with award-winning game writer Sandy Chen. She worked on The Witcher, amongst other Terminus and some other big games. So she does a 4-week game writing course that covers genre, branching narrative, different things like that. So of course, if you're interested, I'll be around afterwards. Please come up and say hello. I'm happy to give you more information about that. Next up, We have some wonderful longtime community members here that have, what's the release date on this bad boy?
Next Thursday, February 22nd.
Next Thursday, February 22nd. And how long have you guys been working on this game?
Let's not talk about
Okay.
that too much.
We're not going to talk about that.
A long time.
A long time, but Andrew and Kati have been part of the Playcrafting family for a long time. This game, Mama Hawk, was rigorously play tested in Playcrafting's expos over the course of the last several years. So coming out to play test these games, giving feedback, sharing your ideas like you have tonight is really like what Playcrafting's all about. I oftentimes, when I'm talking about these courses, will tell people that the community is just as valuable as the actual content they're going to get in the course, and I firmly believe that. And this game is a testimony to that.
Cool.
So they showed this game at Play NYC this past summer, which was really exciting for us to be able to have them be a part of it. And we're really happy to have them back here tonight to share a little bit about the game that we'll be launching next week. So I'll let you guys take it.
Cool. Is there a trick for the sound?
That's the trick. You got it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, like Dave said, I'm Andrew and this is Kati. We're married, so we're a couple, and we've been working on this game for a while. I'll just show you guys the trailer first. Should be.
Available now is a little bit of a lie for a week or so, but yes. So we run a small indie studio called Computer Lunch. We spend many nights and weekends working on this, and as Dave mentioned, the Playcrafting community has been pretty vital in making sure it's fun, it's intuitive. The controls took us a long time to figure out. So the story is about a mother hawk, so it has a female protagonist. She's very fierce, she's not very sexy, she's a good provider, so she roams the forests in search of food for the hungry mouths in her nest. So as you can see, they're picky little brats, so she has to make sure that there's some good stuff. So this is the first level, it's a tutorial level. The controls are, we liken it to ice skating. It takes a minute to figure out how it works, and then once you get the hang of it, it's pretty fun. We originally had a couple of other schemes, and in demoing it to people here at Playcrafting, we figured out that people were having a hard time with it. So we're pretty happy we kept working on it. Andrew's gonna show you some other levels. You want to show level 3?
Yeah, sure.
So as you can see, there's upgrades in the levels. So when we first made this game, we didn't think about, it's a little loud maybe. Yeah, we didn't think about things like monetizing or marketing. We just wanted to make a fun game, so it was an arcade game. As time wore on and we put more and more time into it, we decided to make it level-based. And it meant that we had to redesign the game quite a bit. So we introduced behaviors, and we also made it a vertical game.
Oops.
Maybe turn down the volume a little.
Oh, it's too loud? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little loud. Level 11.
Okay.
So one of the things that we've been sort of learning as we do is marketing, which if you're like most game devs, slightly introverted, not necessarily entirely comfortable tooting your own horn, it's been a little bit of a learning curve. So Andrew's going to talk a little bit.
So this level, I guess the core mechanic is you're flying through the forest, finding animals to feed to your chicks and bringing them back. I guess if there was like a direct lineage of gameplay, maybe an old game called Defender maybe is similar. We go back and forth. Not that we copied Defender, but that's what I would say is the gameplay.
Inspired by the claw game.
Yeah, originally you were really like, I don't know, I guess there's a claw game in the supermarket, and you were like, that would be a good game.
I wanted to base it on claw games, and I played a few Claw games on mobile.
So we were
and
like,
they're terrible,
oh yeah. So how do you make a game where you're like picking up stuff? So we kind of like the claw game. I guess now it's a little different. But this level here, this is kind of our superstar mechanic where like you get powered up. So in the game, there's these parrots. This Mighty Mom parrot, and if I touch that, then I soup up, and then I can just like take out all this stuff. There you go.
And we should mention that those skunks are actually enemies in the level. So.
Yeah. We do a little slow-mo. Yeah.
Do you want to put level 39? Do you actually want to talk about marketing a little?
Oh, in a second, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that we had never done before was running ads. It's very scary when you're poor and you're trying to figure out how to get people to play your game. So people said, oh, run Facebook ads. They're cheap. So we're like, okay. And we figured out very quickly that when you just put the identity of your game in a Facebook ad, no one clicks on it. So we had to do a lot of trial and error in order to figure out what would resonate with people. So we tried different copy. We tried different art style, and it turned out the simpler we kept it, the more people actually clicked on it. So it was a pretty interesting experience. Oh.
And then as you go through the game, there's different animals. So it's an action game at its heart, but we tried to introduce different puzzle elements. So each animal in the game is like a new puzzle element that gets brought into the game. Like these bunny rabbits here jump around. We have later on we have these these owls that actually kind of joust at you that are a bit difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the levels. This is our debug menu for if you're a developer, you have to figure out how to like unlock your game. So in here, has a bunch of little key commands for us, but I can unlock the game.
So you're backstage
and restart it.
right now.
Yeah, you're backstage. So what level did we want to look
39.
at? 39. Okay. So there's over 70 levels in the game, which equates to about 4 hours of content, I guess. Unless you're really fast, you can beat it in 90 minutes.
4 hours if you're a casual player. It's, as we found out at MagFest, it's about 90 minutes if you're really good.
So what's going on in this level, Kati?
So we have the owl. Owls and hawks actually do get into fights in real life, and if you check that on YouTube, it's incredibly disturbing to watch. And it turns out that in a fight, they're very evenly matched. So it depends on how much light there is who wins. So during the day, the hawk will win, but if it's dusk, the owl will win. So there's supposed to be an owl.
There are owls in this level? I think you have to graduate a few babies before the hawks show up.
Oh, so anyway, so we introduced a jousting mechanic, or where you have to actually fly higher than the enemy in order to be able to knock them out. The owls also compete for prey because they eat the same food as hawks do. So the hawks, the owls will steal your rats. Oh yeah, you're not upgraded at all.
So I haven't upgraded my strength, so I have to do that before she can pick up larger animals. Oh, but now I'm...
Yeah, died.
I died. Yeah. So if you don't feed them in time, you lose the game. So they're like a timer.
Very brutal timer. So your children die. It's very sad and realistic.
Let me show them the water level. Those are kind of cool.
Sure. I don't know which ones those are.
I'm just gonna pick a. We have so many levels that we forget.
We've also shuffled them around a bunch. So.
Oh yeah. So this level. So in each level, there's different requirements. So I have to hunt 6 fish, capture 5 of these pigeon guys, and then also hunt 4 deer. So in this level has like some water, and if I touch the water, I'll actually get hurt. So I'm not gonna do that, but.
But if you drop your prey, you lose it. So that's different in this level than the other levels. So each level has its own sort of puzzle and things that make it difficult. We tried not to make it too grueling.
We can talk about the graphics a little bit. So.
Yeah, so my background is in fine arts. So as you can tell, I like to draw. So the backgrounds are all done with these crayons that I really like, called Caran crayons, and then all the characters are vector arts, so they're done in Illustrator. And I love creating the art for it, so I was very happy when the game kept going because it allowed me to make more and more assets. So there are literally thousands of assets in this. We have
Thousands of assets?
feels like it.
Okay.
There's 20 costumes that Mama Hawk can unlock and wear.
So now I need to earn one more pigeon to beat this level. So these guys are dangerous because they poop on you. Like, we had a big debate, do we have them poop? We were like, maybe we should have them drop cherries, but where do the cherries come from?
They're cherries, just later.
We just left it in there. Oh no, so I gotta get...
We're very classy, so that's our selling point.
Just save that guy. So I gotta get one pigeon left, but this guy's about to starve, so I gotta feed these guys too. Okay, so I'm a pro.
Andrew's good at this game. He's played it before.
Okay, here we go. So I got the last pigeon, and then bam. Yeah. Okay.
So do you want to talk about the marketing?
Sure, yeah. And then at the end of every level, you can if you wanted to, you could upgrade. And there's also different character skins with all these mobile games. Like we have a kind of we have a loot box in here. So this, if you pay the coins, you can unlock. What am I gonna get? Oh, I got a Frenchie Mama. I'm so tempted to do it again.
You don't like Frenchie?
Oh, Tennis Mama. So then you've got Tennis Mama, and then you can fly around with Tennis Mama.
Do you want to talk about the ads and marketing?
Sure, yeah. So I guess we'll do questions. So then she's there. She is, and she's got a different. She has tennis balls. Yeah. That's not. She's not pooping those out. Those are just. It's like her ambient.
Tennis balls.
Yeah. Or it's her aura. But she doesn't get any special powers. She just looks cool. Oh, Tennis Mama's down.
Yeah, you gotta stay away from the skunks. They're bad news.
Those are bad. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So we could do questions. I was gonna just briefly talk about something that was kind of like we've done a bunch of games before, mobile games. But in this game, we started to do more like analytics stuff. I don't know. I'm just curious. Has anyone ever like played with Google Analytics, or has anyone ever installed the Google Analytics API or Facebook Analytics? Okay, cool. So analytics is not game design at all, but it is like a part of it because it helps you tell one big thing, like, do people like your game? Are they into it, or do they stick around? Like, how long are they playing before they get bored and leave you forever for another mobile game?
It'll hurt your feelings, I'll tell you that much.
So in the modern day of like mobile games, like you have big platforms like Facebook and Google that can you can advertise to people about your game and then actually get them to install the game, and then kind of they might like it at that point. So one thing we did a long what's it called, soft launch. So when I say soft launch, what does soft launch mean in your minds? A light launch? What? You give it to some people, okay. Hey, I would say giving it to like 5 people, or so for us, what soft launch means, you're like launching it maybe in another country or something. So we pick one country, and then we launch the game there, and then we do promotion in that country, and then we see like how well the game does. So the game might be like in a late beta phase where it's not perfect, but your core gameplay's there, and then most of the stuff's worked out, and then you test it in a specific location. And you try to get beta testers, like you try to get a couple hundred, and then you see like you watch like how far they go through it, and you're using these analytics which kind of tell you how far they got. So for us, what we do is we add a little event at the end of every level they play. So at level 1, it says, hey, they beat level 1. At level 5, it says, hey, they got to level 5, and then we can see like Johnny 57 like got to like level 15, and then he stopped playing. And that helps us know how long people are playing. It also lets us know if there's any sinkholes in the game, like a level that might be too hard or too boring. People get bored really, really quickly. So that was really useful for us in the testing. And the big thing that helps out with the soft launch, it's a lot more it takes a lot more time to do the soft launch, but if you're already investing like a year into building something, it is useful to be like, okay, let me expose this to a larger group of people and see what they think and see like how far they get into the game. And it helps you it can help you like polish out some of the more obvious things that you might not have seen if you hadn't done the soft launch. But it does take a little more time.
It's the perfect complement to doing it in person.
Yeah.
One problem with gaming events is that people who show up like to play games, which means they're gonna encourage you to calibrate it to be too hard. So if you really want your game to appeal to sort of a broader audience, this is targeted at a casual audience, even though it is fun and you can certainly get competitive about it, but like it's really good to like launch it somewhere and see if people who are in the real world playing it, if they actually can beat the levels, if they understand your tutorials, etc. Because we found out that one of our tutorials was not working. So that's a really important piece of information.
So I'll quickly just go through our process, and then we can do questions. But basically, so the way we do our soft launch, our beta test, is so we're using Facebook as our analytics platform and our advertisement platforms. So so we're basically our own ad agency here, okay? So we are like, oh, we're our ad agency. So this was our ad that we made, and it says, so it's you got to think, because Facebook is like, how do we get people to engage with our commercial? Like, some people don't like commercials, so you got to like kind of get a hook. So we were like, we had this graphic with all the animals, and then we gave them a puzzle. We were like, what three animals start with the letter M? And then some people can't help themselves. They're like, oh, it's a puzzle. I gotta figure it out.
Yeah, lots of comments.
So we use that fact that some people can't help themselves to get them to engage with it. But yeah, so this was what we ran. This is one of the ads, and so people, they look at it like we want them to comment on it, but ultimately we want them to click on this thing. And then what happens? They go directly to the Android download page. Okay. So they haven't installed the game yet, but they're at least looking at our Android page.
The beta.
The beta page.
Yeah.
Because Android, you can do early access, which is weird.
Unlike Apple, yeah.
Yeah. So then they go to the Android page, and then they either are going to do one of two things. They're either going to click that install button, or they're going to leave. So we want them to click the install button. But with the analytics, though, we can see. So this is like the Facebook analytics thing, but we can see how many people. So this number is it's very interesting to us, but we can see. So on this day, we have 60 people click on that ad and they go to our Android page. Okay, that means 60 people are on that Android page. Now, of those 60 people, only 37 of those actually installed it. But that's not too bad. So if 60 people come in there and we're like, hey, look at this game, they looked at our screenshots, they're like, okay, this looks cool enough to download. But it also tells us that maybe it's not cool enough to download there. Maybe we need to like improve something, make a more like fun-looking screenshot, or maybe they just don't like our game, or maybe we need to rethink like the way our advertising message is. Like maybe that puzzle was the wrong type of message. Maybe it needed to be more actiony, or like it needed to express a different type of thing. Okay, so then 37 people go into the game. So these people, they're installing the game, they're opening that game, they're going to play that first level, and then we can look at these what are called funnels. And this was really fascinating to me because this was like the first time I'd really messed with this on a project. Analytics are not that exciting, but
if you make games, this is actually very important, because if you want to actually put your game out and if you want people to play it, this is sort of the math homework or the paying your taxes part of it, but it's actually really helpful to think about this as you're making your game, because it'll allow you to just get a bigger base of people playing.
So this is an example of a funnel. So I said we have these events after every level, basically saying you beat level 1, 5, 15. So in the beginning of the game, this is an event, a little hard to see, but it says app installed. That means these people installed the app. This is level 5. So out of the people that installed it, which is 700 people, because we paid to get them to come in the game, they installed it, and then out of that percentage, only 41% of those people actually got to level 5. So now, when we first saw this, we're like, oh my God, they're not even playing at level 5? Like, geez, like what's wrong with our game? But this is actually fairly a typical curve for a mobile game. This is probably about 4 hours of content here. And then, but we can see. So where you can see, like, okay, they drop off. So we try to tweak these levels to see if we can get more people to stick around a little bit longer. Right now, right now, out of those 700 people, 1% gets through to 60 levels. So that's six people there. But anyway, so that's analytics. Pretty interesting. It was fascinating for us.
Launches next Thursday. It's free to play. For $1, you can remove ads.
Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, we'll take them now. Take out yours.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is Facebook the only marketing that you're doing right now, or do you have plans to do other, let's say make a YouTube ad?
So for marketing, so advertisement's very expensive. So I'll just give you the number. Like right now, we get an install for about 60 cents. So it's really weird. Everything's like real commoditized in the world right now. So if we run 60 cents of advertisement, one person will install the game. It's very scientific.
That's
but
the math, yeah.
It is like, it does get kind of mathy. So it's kind of it's almost like a dark science. It's like, am I even doing game design anymore? I'm just like looking at numbers, trying to like, more like doing a pharmaceutical like drug or something. But so the problem is that's real expensive. So like I'm gonna spend $6,000 and get 1,000 people to install my game. That's not really worth it. So like, because we might on one user we might only like earn like less than a penny or something. But it is really good for testing, I think. So probably for the actual marketing, it's going to be more about us directly emailing people. So like right now, I'm trying to finish the build, but once I get that finished and people stop telling me to add things to the game, then
let's not get passive aggressive.
Then I'll have to sit down in front of my computer and just send emails for like 2 weeks straight, and that'll just be me like Googling like who's reviewed a game that's like ours. Do they like our game? Maybe they would like to check out our game. We'll hit up all the YouTubers and
we've done this before with other games. So it's basically a lot of legwork, right? So you're just emailing people and they review it.
And that's like the grassroots thing. And the trailer, we spent a lot of time trying to get that good because that's the thing we're showing to all the. When we show a YouTuber or a press person, we're like, look at the trailer. Do you like it? And then they'll maybe decide. Yeah.
So I'm curious about the soft launch. Like, was that your idea? Like, where did you guys? Is that like a standard practice to soft launch in another country, or did you guys just like think that that's?
Well, we spoke to a lot of people, right? So one of the beauties of taking 3 years to put it together, it means that whenever we go out with other people who've put out games, our first question is, what have you learned? What are the best practices? What worked? What didn't work? And so it has actually given us the opportunity to really sort of come up with what seems to be best practices, and then obviously we have to cross-reference it with what can we afford and how much time do we have at our disposal. So it just seemed like a good way to also prove to ourselves that the game is sort of in good shape.
Yeah, and then in terms of soft launch, usually like we've been doing it in the Philippines mostly. So the Philippines, they get all the beta testing for all the games.
Many more apps in the Philippines than in the US.
It's an English-speaking country, and it's a good test market for America, basically.
You had a question.
Oh, yes.
I have a question to say. Did you base this game off of any other game that you might have played, or this was a completely original idea?
Well, as Andrew mentioned, there were a few sort of like mechanical similarities, but it came out of the idea. So the original idea was literally trying to do a claw game and then realizing it's not so fun. So we added on what we thought would work. And then we realized, oh, it's actually similar to some other games, but it came about pretty organically. So, yeah.
I just have something to say. I don't know if this is anything related to this, but the font kind of looks like Crossy Road. Just to me.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, well, it says Minecraft on the font. But maybe they use it in Crossy Road too. Yeah, back there.
Does so for all the analytics that's in game, like reach level 5?
Yeah.
Does that reporting integrate seamlessly with Unity or?
Yeah, so it's not. I've only used Google Analytics a little bit, but I do like the Facebook one. It's easier to get the Facebook, like whatever their package thing into your app, whereas like Google's like it's like the whole dang government is like in your app because they have every single program. But I think they're both probably fine in terms of like In terms of implementing it, it's pretty easy. We have so this is an example of this is a function. This is a class that handles our analytics. So whenever we call a level ending, we say log level ending. We pass the mission, which is mission 5, and then we tell did they win or lose. And then this is the metadata that gets passed in there that gets sent to Facebook, which is the mission number, and then some other stuff. And then finally, FB Facebook.log event. That gets passed to Facebook at some point, and then it somehow gets like put over there, yeah. But so we're gonna wrap up. But it does take a little while to get the analytics to like. It probably takes like a month to like figure out a lot of this stuff, and like so it's not just a thing you can do over the weekend, but it is it does help inform like oh, I'm going down the right path. Like I'm not making like huge mistakes with a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah. Sweet, give it up for Mama.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Loves metadata, me. Awesome. So this last game, this is our last presenter of the evening, and it's very special. Burgal's Bounty is the name of the game. How long if you care to share, you don't have to share.
It's been a little about 2.5 years on this version of the game.
So this is another game. This is super special. So tonight, Blair was wonderful enough to come share this game with us tonight. This is actually the launch day of his game. So this is the first day that this game has been launched to the public. So please give a round of applause for that.
How do I get the video to work?
More importantly, download it and play it and tell all your friends
Yes, do
how
that.
fun it is too. So are you having a...
Yeah, the video's not coming up for some reason. So, that's the right one, right? Trying to change each one.
Maybe just give it a second.
Oh.
Let's see.
Come
Try picking it out and plugging it in again.
Sure.
Is that your dongle?
Yes, it is.
I have had issues in the past.
I only brought the one on forward. Oh, there we go.
Great.
Sweet. Okay.
So Burgal's Bounty was also shown at Play NYC last year before it was ready for release. But we're super excited to have it here for its release date, and I'll let Blair take it from there.
Oh, I'll turn down the music a little bit. All right, so this is Burgal's Bounty. It is a puzzle game that just came out for iOS and Android. It's been in development for 2.5 years. It's kind of got a long history to it. This is its second release. The first one maybe lasted about a month because that release was on Android only, and my artist had given me stolen artwork. So I ended up pulling the game, and it's actually a great follow-up story to Momo Hawk, is I had a bunch of analytics in that version of the game, so I had a bunch of data to go by to actually improve it a lot, and this is the result of that. It's an entirely different game now, actually, but I'm going to actually just sort of show you the game instead, and then I'm going to show you the origin story. Oh yeah, got a cool paper crumple effect. Could have used one of Deadline's ransom notes.
Steal money.
Sexy.
So that's why you're stealing money. So it's a puzzle game with kind of two main different modes to it. One is sort of a stop and think mode, and another is everything's happening in real time. So I'm going to pick this level. Yeah, it'll be easy to sort of get the idea, and then I'll show you some better levels. So the burglar starts in the bottom left corner there, and the object is to collect all the money bags on each of the mazes. I skipped all the tutorials because they're boring. So you place arrows to like sort of change his direction once he's moving, and once you sort of think you've placed all the arrows where they need to go, you swipe him in the direction you want to start, and then he walks along and collects everything until he gets it all. So I'm gonna jump ahead to one of the real-time levels. I think this is the one I want to show. Yeah. So on this one, you can get a bunch of other items too, which will let you do things on the level select screen and unlock more stuff. So this one, you place everything in real time, and you have to like retraverse the same path he's walking along. Oh no, screwed up. And you can also fast forward. So those are some of the easier levels. The levels definitely get way harder as you go along. I'm going to show the forest level. Let's pick this level. So on every 10 levels, I introduce a new mechanic. So on this one, we introduce bombs. And with the bombs, you can blow up the purple cracked arrows as well as the brown blocks. And the music also changed. So... And I have all the solutions memorized, so I'm making this look way too easy. So that's kind of it. Now I'm going to show you what I think is actually probably the coolest part of this game, and that's the boss fights. So I'm going to start with the first boss.
Sorry to rain on your parade.
So every boss has kind of a different mechanic to it. This one you have to use the arrows to redirect the lightning back at her without getting hit, like I just did. Then she kind of goes all scorched earth on you and sort of zapping everything. So from here it's like a one-hit death if you walk up or get hit by the big lightning bolt she shoots out. And then you just have to redirect the last one at her. And then there's the epic explosion. And then there's a little bonus part to it. Oh, I got hit, so... Oh yeah, he spends all his money on something. Alright, I'll show you the follow-up to that one now. And that's how that one ends. So he just spent $100 billion on a rocket car, which he wrapped around a tree. Who wants to see another boss fight? This next one's actually my favorite one in the game, so I'm just going to show you it. It's kind of hard too. So this is the graveyard level. The mechanic here is keys, but they unlock doors. So this boss has a little bit of that. So you have to dodge the magic snot and then hit this switch here to activate this fan in the middle of the screen, and then you place bombs by her, and then she brings the dead back to life. So then you have to kill these zombies without getting hit by them. I screwed that up. Oh well. Oh shit. Oh, and then I walked into a door, and yeah, that's a one-hit death. Oh yeah, there's hidden stuff on all the levels. I didn't unlock that. I guess that's it. That's the game. Any questions? Yeah. So when I said the artwork was stolen, it was more of an act of desperation because it's like, all right, what am I going to do? I had to pull the game from Google Play, and it's like, well, I could do it myself, and this is the artwork I can do myself. So the 3-year-old kid art style.
You did make the artwork?
Yeah, I did it all. So.
Would any of you game makers consider collaborating with each other?
Absolutely. Sure. There isn't a scoring system in this. There's going to be a PC and Mac release where I'm redoing the scoring system. So this is all just based off of achievements. So you can get achievements in the game. There's no leaderboards.
Looks like there's a lot of content in there. How many levels are?
There's over 120 levels across 4 different game modes. So there's 48 levels in story, and then there's 40 in the other 2, and then there's boss attack mode too, which you have to kill all the bosses in a limited amount of time. Yep. Oh, sorry. So you unlock more content. So if you get all the coins in the game, you unlock hidden levels, which are super, super hard. And I don't have any of them unlocked, and all the debug stuff is disabled because this is the production build. But yeah, there is rewards for getting all the content. There's costumes that you can get in the game. Oh, I've got them all unlocked. That you can either get, you can spend the diamonds on them, or you can unlock them in the game. Because I didn't heavily monetize this game all that much. It is $1 on iOS, so once I have your money, I'm good. Yeah. Oh yeah. They are not easy. Thanks. Took a lot of work. Someone else?
Yeah, continuing on that boss levels, are these out in the market? I think they are pretty amazing. What kind of response you're getting?
It's just been out today, so I'll let you know.
Oh, you said like first version is out or something.
Oh, that was like back in 2015. It was an entirely different game back then. There were no boss fights in that version. Andrew?
When I was downloading it today, I noticed on Android it's actually free.
Yes, it's free, but I put tons of ads in that one, so you can pay $1 to get rid of those. That's based on my own market research in terms of metrics. There's more Android devices on the planet, but in terms of willingness of the markets to pay, you have more willingness for people in iOS devices are willing to pay versus the Android counterparts.
Awesome. Well, so yeah, you can actually read it if you want to demo it here. You can read it so people can see it.
Sure, yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. So we'll take a few minutes for the developers of their games. Some people are already set up. If you want to try Burgal's Bounty, it's going to be up here so that everybody can see it on the big screen. And we'll be able to play until about 8:50. I'll make an announcement and we'll clear out. I'd just like to say at these events, like, just to make the analogy for people in case they don't think about it this way, I mean, like indie film, indie movies, you know, it's always cool to like find a little gem in the rough and share it with your friends. These games are really amazing. We've seen everything from like projects that were made in 48 hours through things people have like poured years of work into. So if you find something you like, please, tell your friends, tell your family, recommend it to people. That's what really makes a big difference to these developers, especially the local ones here in New York and in smaller markets. So thank you guys for coming. Please play the games, check them out, and spread the word. All right? And if you want to talk